Each and every day, enjoy the Simple Six menu at Subway. An entire made-for-you meal featuring one of 6 6-inch sandwiches like the Italian BMT or Black Forest ham, with any bag of chips and a 21-ounce drink, all for only $6. Subway. Eat fresh.
The BS Report is a free-flowing conversation that occasionally touches on mature subjects. The BS Report. The BS Report with Bill Simmons.
Hey, that's me. We tried a live intro for this one. This is so stupid.
Is that the first time?
First time ever.
Ooh.
I probably screwed it up.
I think so.
I'm with Katie Nolan from Fox Sports, who I've been excited to have you on for a long time. That I can't even do the intro correctly.
I think you nailed it. I think you did a great job.
You're in L.A., and you don't like L.A.
No.
You like the East Coast because you're from the East Coast.
Yes.
And it's safe and the sanctity and a little bit of a Stockholm Syndrome mentality of the weather. You like the seasons.
No, I like the weather in LA. I like that it's warm because it's currently like 10 in New York.
Right. You upgraded by 70 degrees.
Yeah, so that part's cool. It's just the traffic. Like, I can't tell how long it's going to take me to get to the next place I need to go today because you guys just have to put in this, like, hour buffer anytime you go anywhere.
That's true.
Also, this may be just a personal gripe, but I took an Uber here, and the woman had no idea where she was going, and that seems
can't judge LA by that.
But you can't drive Uber if you don't know where you're going. In New York, they know where they're going.
I'm sorry, did they solve the traffic problems in New York and I missed it?
Yes.
Because I was there last week and there was traffic.
Not the same. And there's a subway system. If you don't want to sit in the traffic, go underground. That's not an option here. And that sucks.
That is the flaw in the ointment of the LA package.
And the last thing I don't like about LA is that everything is like a kale smoothie as opposed to like a steak. It's just a...
Have you had a kale smoothie? They're delicious.
Not. I have. People say that. I don't believe it. I'm not a kale smoothie kind of person.
Yeah,
Are they chunky?
They taste like kale if it was a liquid.
See, I've never had kale. So I don't know what that.
Kale's
I don't know what
healthy
that means.
for you.
I know. That's why I've never had it.
Do they have aerobics in New York and stuff like that though? Like
It's
aerobics juice.
Oh yeah, probably.
Juice drinks.
I don't
Get
juice
some beet,
much.
carrot, and you don't juice that much.
No.
You're one of my favorite massholes.
Really?
That was one of the reasons I wanted to have you on.
I'm honored.
Yeah, you grew up in Framingham. And we had a very similar kind of, I don't want to say the word rise because it would be the wrong word, more of a...
Because I haven't yet risen.
Well, no. Well, you're doing really well. You have your own show.
Yeah.
Got announced today. I didn't even know that was going to happen when I booked this fancy podcast.
We should talk about it later.
We had the same toiling experience.
Yeah.
We both toiled.
As a bartender.
Yeah. Well, you bartended way longer than I did. And you were like doing bartending in Alston, which is like...
a big deal.
That's...
in the worst kind of way. It's not like high end. It's like high volume.
High volume and lots of college kids and people who you're not probably getting tipped a ton. And
Or
you're
at
probably
all.
getting hit on a lot.
If at all, yeah. Yes. A lot of that.
Yeah, it was like really being in the minors for bartending.
Miller High Life's
Yeah.
$1.25 a bottle.
So you're working there, and at the same time you're doing videos for Guyism. Mm-hmm. Well, tell the story. I don't want to tell your story.
You were doing such a good job.
No, you tell it. Jump in.
You make it sound so much more legit when you say it.
Jump in, because this is a great story. It's inspiring.
Well, okay, so I was bartending and bored because I was dealing with the college kids all the time. So I started a blog where I would write to keep myself occupied and my brain going.
So what year is this?
Ooh, I'm so bad at these things. This is why I don't
like
fill out like
2008,
resumes.
2009 area? 10?
Probably like 2000 and... What year is it right now?
15.
So probably like 2010-ish.
Yeah.
I think. Yeah. Whatever. And so I started a blog, and I did that for like a year. Nobody was reading it, but I was posting on it like 6 times a day.
So what are you writing in this blog?
It was like it was like sports, but also pop culture. It was kind of to compare it to something that exists. It was like Barstool, but it was written all by me.
Right.
And so I did that.
Female perspective or just general perspective?
Yeah. Female, I guess, my perspective.
Okay.
And so then I was doing that, and then Guyism contacted me and were like, we want you to write for us. So then I wrote weekly posts for their website for free, but it was, quid pro quo. So they would send everybody to my website, but I still hadn't figured out how to like make money off my website. So then I started getting more traffic, but I still didn't have any ads or anything on it.
Right.
It's genius. And so then Guyism was like, we're going to launch a daily video rundown of the news with jokes. We were going to hire a model to like read our jokes, but we figure it's cheaper to have you write your own and do it yourself. We could save money. We wouldn't have to hire as many people. So would you do it? And I was like, absolutely not. And then they were like, why not? I was like, I'm awful on video. I'm very uncomfortable and I'm awkward. That's not just me being relatable. That's absolutely true. If you can find old guys in videos of mine, they're so bad.
Right.
I think I've burned them from the internet. But so I tried it for a little. It got better a little bit progressively.
But wait, you hadn't quit the bar yet.
No, this was 5 days a week I was doing these videos, and I would go work at the bar, and my shift would be over when the bar would close, like 1 or 2, and then I would stay, and you have to clean and all that, get home at like 3:30, and then just start writing my jokes for the next day's video, and then I would film it, and then I would sleep, and then I would wake up.
You would film the videos that night?
Mm-hmm, because I had to have them up by 11 or noon, I don't remember now, but every half hour I was late, I got docked money by guys. So like I didn't have any, so that's when I was like, okay, this is stupid. Like I'll just make guys and pay me more, and I have to quit my bar job because I can't do both. And then
so that would, I mean, but that was a couple years of your life.
I did the guys and videos for 2 years of my life. Yeah.
And you were working like
5 days a week.
85 hours a week, probably.
Yeah, it was a lot of work.
See, I always get that question from people where people are like, how do I get into the business? What should I do? Give me advice. And
there's no advice.
There's no advice other than outwork everybody else.
Yeah,
that's really literally the only advice.
The thing I learned from that, the biggest lesson I learned from that period of my life was do something so often that like when you wake up in the morning, it's like, well, this is my job. I just have to do it.
Yep.
And then you get to a point where you're in a routine and you stop worrying so much and you just say, it's my job. I have to do it. So every day I'd be like, I have to make a video today. So I could sit around and be like, these jokes aren't funny or this isn't working. But at the end of the day, I have to get a video up because that's my job. So it just became this routine. And then it got to a point where you stop worrying about all the little stuff and you just focus on getting it done.
Yeah, you weren't outthinking yourself.
Yeah.
You're just doing it
because I do
that
a lot. Because when you work from home and you're working for yourself, you're like, I could spend 12 hours a day making this one video, but then my quality of life is like,
yeah, I think like the first maybe 20 months where I had my own site that I started, and like initially it was $50 a week I was getting. I was writing like
crazy
3 columns a week and then doing all other stuff, but then I was also working in a restaurant, and eventually you burn out, but you can sustain it for like 24 months, something like that. But you get to a point where, and it sounds like you were the same way. I just want to get noticed, and it was a lot harder to get noticed in the late 90s because the internet didn't work like it did now. We didn't have social media. People barely knew how to forward URLs.
But there were also less people that you were competing against. You know, nowadays people are like, oh, I'll just make a YouTube channel and then a TV show will find me. But it's like everybody's doing that. So
there are less people, but it's really hard to overstate how stupid people were with the internet. Like
That's
people
true.
like my dad couldn't even really get on email until like
Don't
2000.
you still have an AOL email account?
I do.
You can't really make fun of people for not catching up with the internet. You have like a BlackBerry.
I've emailed you from my BlackBerry via AOL. So yeah,
is there an app for that? How does that work?
It's me. It's my app.
That's amazing.
It's the Bill Simmons app.
Because you're the only person with a BlackBerry and an AOL email address in 2000.
I have something else old school too. I can't remember. But here's the thing: both of those are coming back. Oh yeah,
the BlackBerry is not
BlackBerry's
coming back.
coming back. They're making a new thing.
No, they're not.
So anyway, the point is to
Yep,
divert from myself.
Yep.
But yeah, you just got to work hard.
Yeah.
Like if you'd given up at any point, you don't have a show premiering on Fox next month.
You think about giving up a lot because it's like I'm making these videos, I'm writing these posts. Literally nobody's reading them or watching them. So you get to the point where it's like, I don't feel good today, or I got into a fight with my boyfriend and I'm sad. I want to make a funny video, and I don't have to because no one's really watching them.
Right.
But you just say, yeah, do it. You have to do it. And then I can't say it pays off. I got very lucky. I don't know if it would always pay off, but my only advice I ever give people when they ask me for it, which I'm totally unqualified to give, is just keep doing it.
Well, you know, I told you this, but not on the podcast, but another time when we talked. Like those years when you're toiling away and nobody really was watching your stuff was the best thing that could have happened to you.
Yeah.
Because the thing I worry about with people now, because it's so easy to get your stuff seen and it's so easy to get any semblance of an audience when you're 23, 24, 25. It takes one blog post can get forwarded around. You just never know. And it's almost better for people not to see all your mistakes. You're going to take more chances.
Right.
I'm sure you have 20 videos you wish you hadn't done.
Oh,
or you think like, oh my God, that's the stupidest thing. I can't believe I did that. Mm-hmm. I have a bunch of those comms.
People dig them up too and find them.
Yeah.
But you don't want to start in the spot. That's why I almost didn't take the job with Fox when they first contacted Guyism to try to bring me onto Fox. I was like, I'm not ready for that yet. I don't have any TV experience at all. So I definitely don't think I'm ready. And they were like, oh, just come try it. And they had me read off a prompter, which I'd never seen before in my life. And I did awful. I bombed my audition. And I was like, yeah, I'm definitely not ready for this. And then I did it anyway. So, I don't know what the moral of that story is. All I know is that I'm glad that I got to work out some of my other stuff when nobody was watching. And on a show like Crowd Goes Wild where nobody was watching.
But that was great. That was also great for you.
Yeah, it was good.
How long was it on? 9 months?
I think so. Yeah, something like that.
You got a lot of reps.
A couple of years.
You got a lot of reps on.
Yeah, I remember we had that conversation. You were like, it's good that no one's watching. It's like, thanks, Bill.
It was true.
Yeah, I guess. It wasn't, ultimately true.
Were you better in month 9 or month 1?
Month 9, 100%.
Like way better, right?
Way better, yeah.
Yeah.
But still not as good as,
I remember when I started to do TV, I made the plunge and did PTI. And
just your first?
It was the first time I really did a studio thing. I'd done a couple other ones, and I would still, I'd get nervous. And it wasn't like I was nervous to be on. I would overthink it and think about all the ways it could go wrong. And by the time I did it, I'm like,
I still do that.
Yeah. But now I'm at a point I don't even think about it anymore.
Yeah, no.
I just do it.
I'm not there yet. I'll be there. I'm not there yet.
I was like 2/3 of the way through Countdown. The first season I did it was the first time I used to get feel it in my chest a little bit. My heart would start pounding. I wasn't nervous, but I could feel my heart doing that, and that would make me nervous. And then by March, I was like, they turn the camera on and we talk, and then they turn the camera off. Who cares?
I think it's the repetition of it, because Crowd Goes Wild, when it was we would have an awful show, and at the end of the show I'd be like, that sucks, I hated that. Yeah. But you have to wake up the next morning and do another. So it was you don't really have time to dwell on it. And then it just became the cameras are on. We have to get this done. We're going to talk. Let's make it good. And you don't notice as much. But now my problem is that now that was, canceled, and I haven't been really consistently doing anything on TV. Now I'm I'm rusty. And I got to brush off which is great because
from the chops of doing it day after day.
Because now I've got a new show with my name on it that everyone's watching episode 1 to be like, is it gonna suck or is it gonna be good? And I'm trying to use episode 1 and 2 to get the gears rolling again. So it's good. I'm gonna, I think, avoid Twitter for the first 2 weeks of the new show.
I would not look at Twitter replies at all.
It's so hard.
You got to avoid it.
Well, it would be easier if I had a BlackBerry. And wouldn't be able to physically look at my Twitter replies.
Can I just tell you how bad the BlackBerry the Twitter for BlackBerry app is?
Is it awful?
It's freaking terrible.
You don't have to tell me everything for BlackBerry.
Do you have a trackball? It downloads so slowly.
Do you have a trackball? Do they still have trackballs? Or is it a pad now? Or did you get the BlackBerry Storm?
I bought a 2011 BlackBerry on eBay because I like the old ones. That's how pathetic I am.
So it does have a trackball?
No,
the little pad thing?
No, it's got the little pad thing.
Whatever. All right.
So, Crowd Goes Wild.
Just going to keep
I have no defense for the BlackBerry. All I know is I write a lot more emails than everybody else.
Really?
Yeah. I'm 10 times more productive.
I feel like I used to hit too many keys at once.
I wrote a blog post yesterday for our Grantland thing about Goran Dragic. I wrote it on my BlackBerry. I couldn't have done that on an iPhone.
Really?
Yeah.
That surprises me.
Yeah.
Does it have autocorrect?
No. Do you really need autocorrect?
Yes.
All autocorrect does is make things worse.
Sometimes.
I don't like autocorrect.
Okay.
So, Crowd Goes Wild. It's on for 9 months. Mm-hmm. And eventually...
Womp, womp, womp.
They canceled. But you're under contract.
Mm-hmm. They picked up my option.
They picked up your option.
Which I didn't know.
So you've done pretty well on the show. You had a little bit of a following going. Mm-hmm. And then you're just doing the videos and that wondering what's next.
Yeah. Just waiting.
So who are your role models at this point? What are you thinking? What do you want to do?
At that point in
where you think I want to be this. I want to follow this career path. I want to have this show.
This guy Bill Simmons, who bartended, I feel like we were already this, and then I saw him go like this, and I'm like, that's me. No, I don't know.
I'm 40 years older than you.
It was well. See, that's what I'm saying. I'm eventually gonna pass you. We're just not there yet.
It's on the way. It's on the way to happening.
Just kidding. I don't know. It was. I was watching we've had this conversation about her before, but Michelle Beadle, who I admire and have always admired, who actually started following me on Twitter back way before the Fox thing happened. And it was like, I remember the best day of my life because I was this huge Beatle fan. Then all of a sudden she followed me on Twitter and sent me a message about something being funny. And I was like, how the hell did she even find me? What do I do now? And I tried to play it cool. And I get really weird when people that I like really adore and idolize contact me because I start to overthink. It's like you would be with like a person that you have a crush on. I just get very like, please don't come off creepy, but don't come off like you don't care, because you care, but don't care too much. And then I think I blew it that first time we chatted on Twitter. But so she's always been a person that I look at as like, she is herself and that's her job.
Right.
And I love that. And I think she should have a bigger platform of her own. But
I agree. We've been trying to give her a podcast for 5 months. Not that that's the bigger platform.
Yeah, but she's just, she's capable of a lot. She's very talented and can carry a show. And I love that about her. There was forever ago, a random episode of Sports Nation that I was watching where she just, off the top of her head, was dropping jokes that you could tell were not scripted. And it was just like, that's amazing. You're just kind of just jumping in and saying what you think. They're very funny, and it's adding to the conversation. And that was like years ago, and I just remember thinking, that's what I want to do. I want to be able to talk about the things I like and also be fun and be funny and be myself and have that be my job. But there's a downside to that too. Because when you're yourself for your job, when people criticize how you are at your job, it's like they're like, you suck at being you. It's like, but wait.
I know that feeling.
That sucks. Like if I could be if I were acting, people are like, oh, Kim Kardashian sucks. Yeah, the part that she shows to us. Maybe she's a really nice person. I don't know.
No.
Okay. Bad example. But like if you're doing your job or you're like playing a role and someone hates you, that's easy to separate yourself from. It's like, oh, they just hate who I am on that show. But when you go to work and you're like, this is me, and people are like, you suck. It's like, wait.
Are people? So you read your Twitter replies?
I always read my Twitter replies.
So
I don't like people who say don't read them because that's victim blaming. It's not my fault they said something mean. Don't make that like my fault. Tell them not to say something mean.
I know, but it's only getting worse.
I know. It's only going to get worse.
Internet muscles are getting bigger and bigger.
I know. But I can't ignore it because in part it got me to where I am. I mean, like having a online presence and replying back to people and not being, it's not like a one-way street. I almost said a one-way tweet. Like I don't tweet things and then not interact with people because that's just not how I've ever done things. And I know that it would make me probably a lot happier to avoid reading.
I was like that for about 7 years. I couldn't take it anymore.
Yeah? Yeah. I just think that a lot of times it's not constructive or useful at all. But sometimes you get a little gem of like, oh, I noticed 3 people don't like the way I do X. Maybe it's time to start coming up with a different way to do it. It's like polling your audience. It's like getting a live reaction from everybody.
It's helpful for like if you're repeating shtick.
Yeah.
And sometimes especially if you're doing a lot of stuff, you forget you did something.
Yeah.
Or you did it that way.
And they're like, yeah, you do this a lot.
Yeah, you're right. I did do that 4 weeks ago.
Exactly. I think they're good at keeping people in check. I just need to keep myself in check and not read probably every Twitter reply.
Well, I think it's interesting. There's this whole thing that's come up about how females in sports media, how social media is so tough to them. For me, it's like, isn't it just mean for everybody?
Yeah.
I don't really think we can narrow it down to one group of people. It seems like
I think everybody gets it.
I've gotten some of the worst emails. I mean, people wouldn't even believe it, but that's the internet. It's just kind of is what it is.
And it's also sports. People are very protective of their sports teams and their you're biased and it's there's a lot of that. Like I always say, I would not trade Twitter accounts with Joe Buck if you paid me, because if you see the things he gets when he calls a game, it's like, oh my God, I don't get any of that. Women just get a lot of the go back to the kitchen. What do you know about sports? Show me your boobs.
Go back to the kitchen?
Oh, yeah. It's still a thing. That's still alive.
That's great. I didn't know that.
Make me a sandwich.
Go back to the kitchen.
Yeah. Not very useful in the kitchen.
Get me some coffee.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially if you're not that useful in the kitchen.
Yeah, it's like, okay, well, now I'm in the kitchen. The f*** you want me to do? Like, I don't even know how to I don't like cold cuts. I won't touch them, so I can't make you a sandwich. So here's some mac and cheese.
So
go back to sports.
This show is weekly?
Yep, weekly. We're talking about
Sunday night.
Garbage Time with Katie Nolan.
Great title.
Thank you.
Really, I'm so jealous of the title. Jacoby was jealous of the title. We're all jealous of the title.
I'm not going to...
I love titles.
I don't like to brag, but I did come up with that title. I'm very proud of it. A lot of things about Garbage Time perfectly sum up the show. Like, I'm a rookie, and I'm going to have my own show. So it's
Getting some shots off.
Exactly.
It's Sunday night.
People might not be watching. It's the end of the week.
Yeah.
It's pretty great.
So it's 11 p.m.?
No, it's 9:30. Out here, it's 6:30.
Oh.
Yeah. I think.
Well, so sure. You got to really wait out the whole Game of Thrones Mad Men. May Sweep's Juggernaut. So June.
DVRs are... Do you have a DVR?
Do I have a DVR?
Can you program that from your BlackBerry?
I tell people all the time, Grantland Basketball or DVR.
Do you have a TiVo? I bet you still have a TiVo.
I do not have a TiVo. I have a DVR.
All right.
I'm actually with technology, other than the BlackBerry, I'm usually ahead of the game.
Yeah.
I was the first kid in my block with a DVD player.
Oh my God.
Yeah, in like
How
1996.
Did that feel?
It was great.
You still brag about that.
It was great.
It's
like, wait do you guys hear this movie? It sounds so good in DVD. It looks so clear. So every Sunday. Who's going to be on this show with you? You're not going to be on by yourself just staring there at the camera and just rattling stuff off for an hour, right?
No, it's half an hour.
Half an hour, okay.
So it's going to be a mix of, it's kind of be like a late night show, but at 9:30. So there's going to be like, monologue jokes and stuff like that. And, rants. I hate that word, but that's what everybody calls them. And then we're going to have some, podcast-esque discussions with like bloggers or people that work in and around the industry that I find interesting that we can just talk about.
Mainstreamers.
Right. And that we can talk about like the issues of the week, but in a very laid back, not like a, what's your take? Here's my take. And then we debate, just like the way you would on a podcast, get into like a deeper conversation with a person that I find interesting. And then we're going to have hopefully celebrity guests, got to book those. And then maybe some like sketches or out in the field, me being goofy kind of stuff.
I like what's your take? What's my take? Let's debate.
Yeah.
That felt like a dig.
At what?
Some sort of structure of creativity that may be existing right now or not.
I just don't, want to be the second take. You know what I mean?
Second take.
Yeah.
Right. Well, you're the last take, conceivably, because it's
maybe that's what we should call it.
The Sunday night wrap up.
And then Jacoby can have garbage time.
Garbage time.
And I'll take last take.
You're not don't have the garbage can as the logo, though.
No. What made you came up with in your head that I was going to have that? I wouldn't have that. Have some faith.
I got worried for a second.
Don't get worried. I also haven't seen the logo, so I don't know. But if it's a garbage can, I would never be like, yes.
Make sure it's not garbage, anything relating to garbage,
Nope.
Oscar the Grouch.
Nope.
If you want to go like old school garbage time NBA player, I think that might be the move.
Okay. Do you want to come on as a consultant to the show?
No, I want to come on as a guest.
Okay.
Although
Are they going to let you do that?
Yeah, why not?
Okay. Yeah, you don't care anyway. You don't follow the rules.
How to follow the rules. No, I do care. I just want to come on. Why wouldn't I be able to come on?
I don't know how the cross network
stuff works. I don't know either. Who cares?
I don't.
We're all part of the same giant television family that's on DirecTV and Time Warner. All right,
and you'll gain so many new viewers if you come over to Fox
Sports. Yeah,
good. All those people will be like, who's this guy? What's ESP, huh? What? Yeah, it'll be great for you. Expand your audience.
Going against Game of Thrones, that'll be awesome.
Yeah, it'd be great.
We just did a Grantland show. We were against The Bachelor, SNL 40, the NBA All-Star Game.
Oh, yeah, no.
And Walking Dead.
Do you watch that show?
Of course.
I don't watch that show.
So what do you watch?
I should probably
I thought you were a big pop culture maven.
Well,
Semi-maven?
I guess so. What do I watch? I currently am like getting caught up on old shows, like diving into
old shows.
Like, God, it's embarrassing to admit. I'm into Fringe. You remember that show?
It's embarrassing to admit. I just talked about my BlackBerry and my AOL account.
Yeah, I know.
I remember
because
Fringe.
I brought it up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was looking for a show on Netflix. My boyfriend and I watch like shows that we'll only watch together. But it's tough when you do that with new shows because it's like I don't want to wait for this person to watch this episode. So we watch Fringe together on Netflix. It's a crazy show, Bill. It's crazy.
Know. Where was Fringe on initially? You like USA or something?
Maybe. It's J.J. Abrams, and
I remember that
Joshua Jackson.
Right.
Pacey.
And then the guy on The Affair, too. Don't forget that.
I've never seen it. Is that good? I heard it was meh.
It's pretty good.
Meh.
I like the Hamptons. I like when things are set in the Hamptons and
Do
Nantucket
you?
and Martha's Vineyard.
So douchey.
I like when it's like rich people coming in and the people who were there the whole time, they resent them. I'm always in on that
A
plot.
class struggle.
I like
the
class struggle with my TV shows. That's why I love the OC. I like 90210. Yeah, I like class struggles.
I'm trying to think of what else I watched.
Wait, do you guys? So do you when you commit to watching a show from beginning to end on Netflix, you and your boyfriend?
Yeah.
That opens the door for Netflix cheating.
Yeah, but see, we don't. We won't. That's the
So
thing.
you're completely Netflix monogamous.
Right. And we have like current shows we can watch separately.
Yeah.
We're doing the Netflix thing on purpose so that we don't make each other want to cheat and watch without each other. Because who's really like, I'm dying to see Fringe today? It's really, there's no...
You have nobody else.
Yeah, it's not like, oh, someone's live tweeting it. It's never going to be spoiled.
That.
Yeah, so we just watch like 3 episodes at a time.
The worst thing I ever did to my marriage was when I was on the road the 2013 playoffs. We were at the same pace on Breaking Bad, my wife and I.
Ooh.
And then I was on the road.
You pulled ahead?
Oh, I didn't just pull ahead. I was like Usain Bolt. I went 2.5 seasons ahead.
Did you?
And then when I came back, she was like, "Hey." No, I didn't really tell her.
Oh my god.
So then when I came back, she was like, "Hey, now we can watch Breaking Bad," and it was literally like I cheated on her.
Did you? Oh, so you didn't just fake it? You weren't like, "Yeah, sure." Oh God, what's happening?
Oh, I can't believe what's happening with Gus.
Yeah.
No, I couldn't. I'm not a good liar.
All right, I guess you get some points for that, but
yeah, I'm very transparent.
How could you do that
I know.
to her?
We're on the road. I couldn't sleep. I can't sleep on East Coast time.
A lot of people use that excuse for all types of cheating.
That's true.
I was on the road. I was lonely.
Yeah, it was 3 a.m. I couldn't think of anything to do.
Oh,
so I went down to the hotel lobby and picked up Breaking Bad. But when I go West Coast, East Coast, I can't sleep. I'm so adjusted.
I guess that makes sense. Yeah.
Even like when I was back for All Star for 2 days, and the parties and stuff are till like 3 a.m. It's like great. It's like midnight back home.
Yeah. See, I'm the opposite here. Like right now, I have no idea what time it is, but it feels like to me like 9 o'clock.
We usually the East Coast people, they come here and they get up at like 4 a.m.
Yeah, when I come here and they're like, "Oh, Katie, we're picking you up at 8 for your shoot." I'm like, "Cool, pick me up at 6. I will be up. I
be ready.
I can't sleep."
Yeah,
but I go to everyone's like, "Let's go out for drinks," and at 10, I'm like, "It's time to go home."
Let's talk sports stuff.
Okay. What's that?
Well, you're a Boston.
Should I go
fan.
to the kitchen?
No.
Okay.
You're a Boston sports fan. I'm a Boston sports fan. All the Boston
you just
sports
lost, like,
fans.
tons of people just
no,
tuned
they're fine.
out.
No, because it's us against them now. They hate listening to this conversation.
It's always been
it's
us
like, here they go.
against
He's going to
them.
talk about the Patriots again. He's going to do it.
You're such a homer. You guys are such homers.
Go defend Deflategate. Yeah, so let's talk about us versus them.
Yep.
Because that's what this has become.
Yep.
Deflategate. Do you feel like the Patriots have been railroaded?
Yeah. I think what pissed me off the most...
Does Homer Katie feel that, or does real Katie feel that?
No, real Katie.
Okay.
Homer Katie.
Real Bill feels
that's
it
what
too.
sucks is you can't ever say I'm a Patriots fan and then defend the Patriots because everyone's like, "Oh, you're just a fan." It's like, no, I'm a logical thinking person, and I think that what pissed me off the most about Deflategate was that it was just reported as fact across the board. Patriots are cheaters. They
First
cheated.
story. Just
they did
took
this.
off.
This is
11
blah,
to
blah,
12
blah.
balls.
Cheaters, and then it was like, but the NFL says they're still investigating. They haven't investigated, and like. Not that I trust their ability to investigate, but like,
why would you?
There weren't facts, and even when there was like, well, a couple conflicting facts. It was just like maybe we should wait before you go calling people cheaters. But no, because it's the Patriots, and they have a history of doing a thing that other teams did, and we got caught doing.
Like the Indianapolis guy
Katie.
who wrote that Belichick needed to step down before the Super Bowl. That was good. Bob Kravitz. We won't forget you, Bob Kravitz.
That was amazing. There was somebody else, too. I feel like it was a Sports Illustrated guy who wrote an article that was like, oh, come on. This is a joke, right?
People got so upset.
Oh, my God. So upset.
And it seems like football is, first of all, we haven't solved the cheating problem of football if people are calling in the plays like this, where they put the... Like, why are you putting your little play menu over your face every time you call a play if nobody's allowed to videotape your signals or do any of that stuff?
Yeah.
So let's be... So that bothered me. Mm-hmm. I also feel like the Spygate thing has now been like... has gone to a level that was way beyond what Spygate actually was.
That's what I say. Is that like, it was a thing...
It was a indiscretion.
But it wasn't the indiscretion that everyone's making it to be. It wasn't like we snuck into a practice and set up a camera and stood in the. It was a thing that was happening. We just were at a location we weren't supposed to be at.
They changed the rule before that season.
Right.
In the first game, they put somebody in the stands to videotape, which you're not allowed to do.
Right.
They got caught.
Because of because
of an ex-Patriot assistant.
Yeah.
Another jilted one. A lot of jilted people.
A lot of people have an axe
Patriots.
to grind.
Yeah, a lot of axes.
And they grind it on us.
A lot of axes.
And I'm sick of being ground on.
A lot of axes.
Yeah.
And it was funny when this Deflategate thing happened. It seemed like almost everybody who went after the Patriots on TV were people that had lost a playoff game to the Patriots.
Funny how that works out.
And each time I was like, oh, Marshall Faulk, oh, yeah, we beat you in the Super Bowl. I'm glad you're weighing in on this, Marshall Faulk.
You're totally unbiased.
And it's like Bill Polian, oh, yeah, after 2004, the playoff game, you tried to change the rules so people couldn't get jammed at the line anymore.
But we're biased. Because we're Pats fans.
I think maybe everyone's biased.
Yeah. But my thing is, like, it almost makes me wish, like, that I never said I was a Patriots fan. Because it's like, no, I'm making a logical point. And you're dismissing it because you know that I'm a Patriots fan. But my point is still logical.
Who's dismissing
Just
it?
like the world. When every time you present them with like, oh, well, we can't jump to a conclusion because blah, blah, blah. Pats fan. It's like, all right. Or a person with a brain.
I kind of like it now. And this title meant it was way up there for me because now I just want another one. Now it's like, fine. Everybody hates us. Great.
Yeah.
You know what? Let's ride this out. We got 3 more years of
face.
Belichick. Let's just be the bad guys. I'm fine with it. I'll root for the Yankees. Great. I know. That's what we are, though. We're the Yankees. When you were growing up in the streets of Framingham, it was a Boston sports drought.
Yeah.
You grew up with a drought.
Yeah.
And then they win a title. The Pats win the Super Bowl. Mm-hmm. You're probably like a teenager barely at that point.
Yep.
And then it's just...
The first Super Bowl I ever watched was the Green Bay Patriots.
96.
Yeah. That was my first, like... I don't know if this is like outing me as being like a really sheltered kid, but my parents let me stay up to watch
for the Super Bowl.
I feel like I think I was in like 3rd grade. And I remember just it being late and me being really tired, but I wasn't going to go to bed until it was over. And that was the first, like, that I can remember, the first time I was like devastated by a sports moment. It was like, wait, I wish I didn't watch this. Because tomorrow, everybody who didn't watch this isn't going to care, and I feel sad. But then after that, being a Boston fan was great.
Well, the next 6 years weren't great, and then all of a sudden it was really great.
But I mean, once the floodgates opened, per se,
it's been unbelievable.
That we haven't closed them really yet.
It almost feels like it's like too good to be true.
I feel guilty about it a little.
Yeah, I do too.
I feel like you're supposed to struggle and be bummed as a Boston fan.
We had some bad losses in there too, so maybe that was part of the struggle.
Yeah, but still,
those 2 Giants Super Bowls were brutal. 2010 NBA Finals Game 7 was brutal.
I was in college in New York for the Giants when we had the undefeated season with the, and I was at obviously a Super Bowl party with all New Yorkers, all Giants fans, and I was like, guys, we're gonna kill you. I was the one Pats fan, obviously super loud. We're undefeated, like you're gonna.
Yeah.
That was the worst.
Didn't see that one coming.
No, not at all. Not at all. But like my father, I feel like he looks at me as like privileged Red Sox fan because he suffered through those. And I've seen, I was at the last World Series win, which was amazing, but it's like, I don't know. I'm torn because you want them to win, but then it's also like, if you win too much, then you start to get a little, it's not as interesting anymore.
Then you're jaded.
Yeah.
You get to that Hugh Grant phase where you're driving around at 5:30 at night picking up hookers to try to get a rush.
Yeah, I know that stage well.
Yeah. Wait, so is your dad the reason you followed sports, or was there somebody else that caused this?
My brother's the reason I was really into hockey. And
you're a huge Bruins fan.
Yeah. It's been a disappointing year for me, mainly because I used to go to a lot. My parents have Bruins season tickets, and I used to go to a lot, and just with this year being what it's been, I haven't had the time to get back home. So my dad will give me these tickets, and then I have to call him the week before and be like, I can't make it home. I have seen an embarrassingly low number of Bruins games this year. I have to get that, whatever, for the TV to be able to watch games everywhere. So you don't know what it's called. What am I talking about? You have a BlackBerry. I have to figure out.
First of all, how dare you? I have all the devices that allow me to see television.
You do. I know.
That's my specialty. So you stuck with the Bruins even when the owner basically tried to destroy the team and the lockout, all that stuff? Like you were just...
Yeah.
You were still there.
Yep. Lockouts are the worst. It's what's... As a hockey fan, it was just like you knew it. Every time the CBA was up, you were like, well, here we go. Another lockout. Momentum and then nothing. I
loved hockey as much as I loved all the other sports through college. And then eventually Jacobs killed me. And when they sent him to Colorado so he'd have a better chance to win the cup, I was officially just out. And then...
But you're back.
No,
Come
08,
back.
08,
yeah.
because one of the best things that happened was on TV it just looked better. You could see the puck. So once I had
They should put like a tail behind the puck so you could see it when there's a slap shot.
They don't need to do that anymore. It's so clear. No, it's just...
I thought that was a brilliant idea by that network that did that.
But if you watch the old tapes from that, you can see why they did it.
Yeah,
because it's
you
so
never
blurry, you couldn't see anything. All those games from the 90s, you could barely see anything.
I still feel that way about golf. I try to watch golf on TV. I cannot see the ball.
They need the tailing ball.
I cannot see the ball. I'm sorry. And everyone's always going, look at that shot. Like, you can't see it. You're lying. You can't see that.
08 was when I started to get sucked back into the playoff hockey. Mm-hmm. But then when I got the Kings tickets, playoff hockey is the best.
Better than any other sports playoffs. It's just
so we got the Kings tickets, and now I'm really back. Like I know everybody on the. I'm gonna write a 25.
So you're a Kings fan now.
I'm not a Kings fan. My kids are Kings fans. When the Bruins came here, guess who rooted for the Bruins? This guy.
But still, what?
I know.
Your kids are Kings fans?
My kids grew up here. What am I going to do?
Tell them that they're Bruins fans.
You can't do that with kids. You can tell them you can tell kids who not to root for. Tell
them not to root for the Kings. Because they need to root for the Bruins.
Well, you want your kids to root for the local team, at least one of them. You kind of do. Well, it was great, though. You'll love this. The Bruins came to town. I rooted for the Bruins. They rooted for the Kings. The Kings won. They taunted me the whole third period. We went. It was great. It was a fun.
That sounds fun.
Parent-kid experience. But yeah, ever since we got Kings tickets, they won 2 cups.
Oh.
And the Bruins won one, almost won a second. But now this Bruins run feels like it's teetering.
Yeah, they're in a weird place. They have a lot of moves to make.
Well, they have a lot of moves to make, but I mean, there might be real moves that would be like end of the era type moves. Mm-hmm. Like, there was a Chara rumor that went around, and who knows if it was true. But that was, when I read that, I was like, whoa.
His injury at the beginning of the season, it was just everybody was like, well, there it goes. Like, this is a year to not be too invested in the Bruins. We just don't look like the same team anymore.
Hockey's rough because you get like 4 years of trying to contend, and it's like 7 years.
Yeah.
Like 4 years of hockey when you're going 3-4 rounds every time, the way it's built. The same with the Kings this year. They played like, I think, 26 hockey games.
You're a Kings fan.
I'm not a Kings fan.
You are. It's
you know what I am?
So it's like you're trying to put up the facade. You're just like Kings, Kings, Kings.
Here's what I want.
Homer.
I want playoff games. They're 2 points out of the 8th spot. I just want to go to the playoff games.
All right, you can go. You don't have to root for them. It hurts our feelings, Bill.
You understand when you have kids. When you have kids, all you want is your kids to be happy.
Well, that's why maybe I won't have kids. That sounds tough for me. Let me put my needs second. What can I do for you, small person? I don't know if I can do it.
Can you at least respect the concept of...
Yeah, no, I get it.
Of this concept.
Oh, I thought you were going to say...
Telling them who not to root for. Like, I wrote a column about this once. I laid out all the teams they just weren't allowed to root for. Lakers.
Right. Yankees.
Like, all the New York. There's no New York team that's allowed.
I think that's why I'm struggling with this is because if I were to have these proverbial children, I live in New York. So it would be like, you want your kids to root for where they grew up. It's like, hell no, my children are not going to root for the Yankees. I'll put them up for adoption. I'm not afraid to say that. Like, I don't want to see that in my house.
You shouldn't be afraid to say it. I wouldn't let my kids. Yeah, even if you live there, you can't.
So, like, that's why I see it as you're here in LA.
The LA Kings are harmless, though. They're like, they have like 20,000 fans. They have 20,000 diehard fans.
Are your kids Dodgers fans?
No.
Lakers fans?
God, no.
So,
they
Clippers
hate the
fans?
Lakers. No. Boston for Celtics.
It's a softer no. Oh, they're Celtics fans.
Celtics.
Save them.
Celtics.
Let them be Clippers fans. Well, that's...
I personally don't even enjoy the Clippers that much anymore.
All right.
No, they love hockey. My son loves hockey.
That's great.
He loves, when he plays video games, he plays the Bruins because he loves Chara.
That's fun.
Because he's One Punch Chara. Because he saw the clip this year, and that was like the greatest.
That's all you need when you're a kid. I saw this one thing this guy did. I am a fan forever.
He loves the fighting. He knows who all the fighters are.
Yeah.
And that's how I was when I was a kid. It was...
All right.
It was the fighting and the games.
Does he play hockey?
He's starting this year.
That's
actually.
exciting.
Yeah.
And expensive.
A little bit expensive. Not that terrible. All sports are expensive for kids.
I know, but hockey was... My brother played hockey, and I wanted to play hockey too. But it got to a point where for my parents to buy his equipment and then buy me equipment. Because I was wearing his hand-me-downs, but then eventually... He's a boy, and I'm a girl. I don't know if that was clear with the brother-sister thing.
Right.
But they didn't fit the same. I needed my own equipment, and my parents were like, you're going to take up rhythmic gymnastics instead.
That's what you did? Mm-hmm. Rhythmic gymnastics?
Junior Olympic gold medalist.
What?
In rhythmic gymnastics.
What the hell just happened? How long did you do that for?
A long time. But from when I was like a small child to probably in high school.
How many hours a day was that?
Super weird. It was mostly like Friday and Saturday extensive practices, and then we had dance classes throughout the week because it's very rooted in dance, ballet.
That whole gymnastics world is a quagmire of hours and money and everything.
Well, see, we weren't as crazy because we don't do the backflips and stuff. We just do the ribbon dancing and the hoops and the. But yeah, it was a huge commitment, and it was like. Competitions were like in Connecticut every weekend because there aren't, think of how many times you've heard the word rhythmic gymnastics, there aren't a lot of teams that were around you that were doing it.
Right.
So we would have to travel pretty far. That was like my whole life as a kid. It feels like a completely different world now, obviously, but.
I'm like 30% sure that you're making this whole thing
I'm not making it up, I swear. You came in
with your friend Dave, and you're like, I'm going to go on the Simmons podcast. I'm going to make up this whole rhythmic gymnastics background. And
I'm not that smart.
And then I'm going to mock him afterwards. So why'd you quit after high school?
I came up with that idea. I didn't quit. This is a devastating, sad story.
Oh, no. Jacoby knows I don't allow tears in the studio.
Oh, I won't cry. You might cry.
No, I don't allow my own tears either. Okay.
It's not that sad. Basically, the dance studio that we were based out of was run by the grandmother of one of the girls that was on my team.
Yeah.
And the girl on my team was good, but she was also sort of when she started to get into high school, she was sort of like screw this. I don't really want to spend all my time doing this like nerdy. Because think of yourself in high school trying to explain to kids that, what do you do on the weekends? Come to this party. Oh, no, I have a rhythmic gymnastics meet. It wasn't exactly the coolest thing. So she started to get a little like, I'm not really interested. And then one day she woke up and was like, I don't want to do it anymore. And so her grandmother was like, okay, our team is no longer. And so we were like, well, my family was like, what do we do? We tried to find another coach. There were none in the area. And then it was like, we have to move our family to Rocky Hill, Connecticut if we want you to be able to keep doing this.
Not a bad town.
Yeah, but it's also like not
Massachusetts.
I don't ever want to live in a state that doesn't have its own sports teams.
It's a great point.
Creeps me out. But so, yeah, it was just like sorry, Katie, you can't do that anymore. So if you're paying attention, you'll notice in that story twice I was told, sorry, Katie, no more of that for you. Hockey and then rhythmic gymnastics. But what did I do? I persevered.
We'll be back after this. Sounds like a 30 for 30.
Yeah. What if I told you?
A rhythmic gymnastics legend was not a legend and owned her own show called Garbage Time. Well, that's depressing.
Yeah.
Could you have done it in college?
Sad. I mean...
Do they have that for college? I have no idea.
I don't think so. No, but it's in the Olympics. It's an Olympic sport. But
and you were the Junior Olympics champion.
Yes.
Is this on YouTube?
No, this was way before YouTube. I was a small child. I would say that I'd find you video, but also throughout my childhood, I had a very short boy haircut.
Oh, tomboy.
And so it would be really embarrassing to show you the video, not just because of my sweet moves, but because like
tomboy
looked like a dude. Yeah, but once it became an Olympic sport, because it wasn't. I remember I VHS taped the first Olympics. It was the 1996 Olympics.
Yeah.
It was the first Olympics where it was a sport. And I set my VCR, like not my DVR, my VCR to record, and I watched it and was like so amazed. And after that, it got really more, like, I would never have been able to compete at that level. At the beginning, maybe, but then it's all about now, like, being super flexible and, like, contortion-y and doing crazy things.
So, your dad...
But it could have been me.
Because my daughter's not even 10 yet, but I was worried about, like, someday, like, I don't know, if she goes on to do stuff and I'd Google her or whatever and I'd get upset if I saw things or who knows.
What are you talking about?
No, like she became, if she became a good athlete.
Oh.
Or if she went, I wasn't talking
That's not
about
what
it. It was like Jade on The Bachelor.
You'll listen back to what you said and realize how I took it that way.
No, you should.
She'll go on to do stuff. I'll Google her and see it.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, do stuff in a positive way.
Great.
So what did your dad think about, like, the last 5 years and all of a sudden you've become visible?
He is very proud.
Good.
Like, an embarrassing amount of proud.
Does he brag about you?
Yeah. And he'll, like, post his Facebook statuses about me a bunch. It's very sweet. But it's just like, Dad, shh. But he's very proud. And excited. He always was. Even when I was making really stupid videos on the internet, he would, like, share them with his friends and, like, sit around and at his golf tournaments and watch.
That's nice.
Yeah, he's very supportive. I also think he's the most excited about it because he feels like if I keep going on this trajectory, I can finally pay him back for college. So he's like, go get him, kid. Get that paycheck. Can I have some?
Well, that might happen.
No, it's going to happen. I was blissfully ignorant to how much money. I thought I took out, like, a huge student loan and I've paid that off since, but come to find out, like, my dad kind of did me a solid, which I only recently found out and only because I forced him, and now I'm going to just have to, I won't stop till I pay him back because, like, I'm not even using my degree and I feel super guilty about it.
I was a poli-sci major.
Why?
I know.
What was your goal with that?
I don't know.
What would you end up doing?
I wanted to be a sports agent.
What? So poli-sci?
I know. I was an idiot. I was 19.
I mean, I majored in PR, but at least there's, like, a field called public relations. Like,
I'll tell you this, though. Poli-sci was weirdly good for what I do for a living because it teaches you to take history and make crazy arguments about things in history.
And you're
which
very
is
good at
kind of
that.
like sports, right?
Yeah.
Same thing. You're talking about Abdul Nasser. Make some hot take. Abdul Nasser hot take. You know, you're off and running.
All right, I guess that makes sense. PR kind of helped me do what I do now. But I mean, really, my degree is useless.
I would think it's weirder to have a PR major than a poli-sci major.
Why? Can you go into the job field and work at a political science firm? No, that doesn't exist.
It was a gateway to law school.
Oh, to more school.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's not a job. They don't pay you to go to school.
But that's why I was an idiot. Yeah. Because I for some reason, when I was 19, I was like, you know what'd be cool? College and then more school.
Yeah, I couldn't do that.
4 more years of school or 3,
PR,
whatever it is.
4 years, and then you go out and you get a job at a firm.
So what's your career look like 7 years from now? What are you doing? What do you see yourself doing?
This?
What's this?
What do you mean? It's
a very fair question.
Yeah, I know.
Don't mock my question.
I hate, like, where will you be in 5 years? Because in 7 years, if we're being honest as a woman, like, if I'm having kids, gotta have them in 7 years. Right?
I don't know, you can have them in your 60s now.
Well, I don't know.
The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills have them.
About
They
that.
crank 'em
Yes,
out in
and I
their
love to
60s.
model my life after what the
Do
Real
it.
Housewives of Beverly
Science
Hills
is
are
great
doing.
now. Science is great.
Yeah.
A lot of scientific
I want to be able to retire without having a kid to take care of. You know what I mean? Like, I want to retire with them already doing their lives.
So
and if you have a kid when you're 60 and then you retire, you're, like, still raising it and paying for its college.
Could you see yourself, like, hosting, I don't know, a Super Bowl pregame show? Or do you see yourself as, like, your own act, like trying to create content and being creative?
Probably more the second option. I mean, I like doing this, but I also like the thought of, taking a Super Bowl pregame show and putting something in it that people aren't used to. Like, part of me is like, yeah, do your own thing and have these studio shows and go that route. But the other part of me is like, but if you really want to, like, shake things up, you should do what everybody's already doing and shake that up. You know what I mean? Because if people are watching a Super Bowl pregame show and it's the same usual stuff and they don't go and look for other things, then they're never going to experience that. What I think can make sports so fun is, like, when you stop taking them so seriously and you start just enjoying it. When's the last time you watched a Super Bowl pregame show and you were like, this is
never
fun? They're all
years.
friends with each other and really enjoying it. What a great joke that was. It's like very rigid. So
the problem is, and I may or may not have personal experience with this, what seems to be a great idea on paper with some sort of mainstream gigantic property, the more suits that you get involved who get scared by anything that deviates from any semblance of the norm, and whatever idea was in there suddenly morphs into an idea that's not that good.
We don't tell them.
Right. You don't tell them until you're actually doing it on the air.
That's why you got to like sneak in and be like, yeah, I'll host your show. And then you just...
But you've thought about, forgive me if I'm wrong on this, but you've thought about possibly doing more than just sports.
Yeah. Oh, definitely.
You thought about doing stand-up, I bet. Mm-hmm. But you never actually did, right?
I tried
or
it.
Did you?
I tried it.
You tried stand-up?
Twice. Two times.
When was that?
Trying to put it on the timeline. I was still bartending.
Oh.
Or I had just quit bartending to do videos full time. So it was a summer of, I don't know.
2011 or something.
Probably, yeah.
So you did 2 times, you just didn't like it, or you freaked you out?
I wasn't good at it. So I took a stand-up class because I wanted to try it, and also because I wanted to like just learn that skill of, writing jokes.
Yep.
So it was just a thing that I was doing every day, and I was alone, and I felt like I was getting in my own head about it and writing jokes of like the same format every day, and I needed something to like shake me up. So I took a stand-up class, which was helpful, but was also basically just a person that would push you to do stand-up. And at the end of that class, you had to do it was like a showcase or a recital, like an adult recital, where you would have to come and everybody had to do a 5-minute act. That was my first time ever doing it. Things were going well, and then I forgot my next joke. And at that stage of the game for me, forgetting the next joke wasn't like, think on your feet, come up with the different. It was like, I stood and I looked at the audience for what was probably
froze.
like 15 seconds, but felt like 5 minutes. I sort of looked at them, and then I was like, you came to a student showcase, you knew this was going to happen, so just give me 1 minute and it'll come back to me. And I was hoping they would smile like, we're with you, and everybody else instead was like, get off the stage, why are you still here? Came back to me, I finished it. Everybody told me I did great, but it was one of those things where they pat you on the back and you're like, I know that you're patronizing me. I know it was bad. I didn't speak for a solid 15 seconds. So then my friend is a stand-up comedian, like he does like Caroline's. Yeah. So he's pretty legit. And he was coming home to Boston to do a show, and he was like, I want you to do an act. I want you to do a set with us. Him and like a bunch of his friends. And I was like, okay, how long? And he's like, 15 minutes. Which is like, I had no business doing that. It takes a good stand-up comedian like 2 years to work out their best 5 minutes.
That's a lot of time. That's almost like 6 different bits. In 15 minutes.
And it was my second time ever getting up on stage, but I killed because the audience was my entire family.
Oh yeah,
it was like my like the only people that came, like my mom, my dad, my grandmother, who certainly could not hear me or understand what I was talking about, but was like, yes. And so then I thought I did good, and then I watch it now, and it's like, ooh, that was so bad. It takes a lot of guts, and it takes a lot of time, stand-up, because you have to keep doing it and, like, figuring out which joke worked and which joke didn't, and working on the ones that did and getting rid of the ones that didn't, and it's, like, a lot of time.
I always wanted to try it and never did, but I always have these little bits in my head that I've always wanted to.
Everybody does.
But it's like these little 2-minute bits, but you know they could never last for a whole thing.
Yeah. And you try to like flesh them out and you're like, nope, that actually probably wouldn't work. It's really hard. I have a lot of respect for stand-up comedians.
Yeah. They all seem like they've gone to dark places, like really dark.
You have to, because you're getting up on stage every night and being like, I'm going to tell things I think are funny, and then all these people are going to judge me.
But then you get to the place where Louis C.K. got to, where he's selling at Madison Square Garden for like 7 nights in a row, and he could go up there and say anything, and people are going to laugh hysterically.
But that's the exception, not the rule. So that like you can't get into stand-up and be like, I'm going to be Louis C.K., because you probably aren't.
But even that, like that's the nirvana, and now he's going out on stage going, I don't know if this stuff is funny anymore because all these people are going to laugh at anything I say.
That's true.
So where am I creatively? Which is why he loves doing his TV show, I think.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think what else I wanted to ask you. Terrible segue.
No, it's good.
Oh.
It's natural.
So, role models for what you do. Mm-hmm. Why aren't there more females in sports media who kind of stand out from a creative standpoint?
I don't I don't know. I don't know if that's a me thing or if that's just the nature of sports media. I mean, I try not to make everything like a female-male issue. I know it's hard to separate it from when it is blatantly a female-male issue, but I don't want to say that, you know, because I'm a woman, such and such. For me, it's I wouldn't necessarily pick a woman as my role model just because she's a female.
Right.
I'd pick my role model of like, okay, Tony Reali, I like what he does, and I could see myself doing what he does. Very handsome man. He's a very handsome man.
Very in shape.
Yes.
Tony Reali.
Do you want to talk about Tony Reali a little bit more?
You hit him on the shoulder, and I just feel inadequate. I'm like, God, I really got to work out. Like, this guy's ripped. Yeah,
I had no idea you had such feelings for Tony Reali.
Not feelings for him. For just more envious. Him. Yeah, envy.
Feelings about him.
Envy.
Okay. Yeah, I see, like, for me, role models are people that are doing something I could see myself doing or that I want to do, but I don't necessarily care if they're a man or a woman, because I don't think that changes the fact that I could do or want to do what they do, you know?
I see your point on that.
Yeah?
But I think the reason it's an interesting question and why you'll probably keep getting it for the next 10 years of your life is because I have a million dudes I can watch talk about sports, you know?
Yeah.
And there's just not a lot of females. And I'm always more interested, even like when talking to Beetle about stuff, I'm always interested in her take on stuff because it's different than most of the takes I'm getting. And even though it has nothing to do with males being better, females being better, any of that stuff, it's just like, I just like different takes.
Perspective, yeah.
Perspectives are important.
It would be fantastic if most people thought that way about it. Just sports has this, I don't know, this like air around it that sports fans will sometimes be like, why do I care what a woman says about basketball when she never played basketball? Why do I care what this woman has to say about... Whereas I see sports as like, especially on the kinds of shows that I do or that I want to do, it's not, no one's coming to me for X's and O's. I'm not sitting down and being like, oh, run a slant. I am talking about the, you know, weirder, funnier stories, the social impacts, the you know, things like that, like things that anybody could offer an opinion on, but that I have an opinion about. Whereas, you know, most people will be like, women can't speak to something they've never done before. I feel like anybody could speak. Like, what makes a man more qualified to talk about like a Ray Rice situation than, say, a woman? That to me is like, what? That doesn't make any sense. Why would you want all men talking about an issue that affects men and women? Just because women don't play professional football, they can't speak about it?
Well, like you did the Darren Sharper thing when you went after Peter King, which I thought was really good.
Thank you. Low-hanging fruit, Peter King. I don't think anyone's like...
No, but your perspective on it resonated a little bit more because you're a woman compared to if a guy had done it, just because of what the situation was. And I think the same thing happened with the Ray Rice thing. Like, the best thing we ran on Grantland was by Louisa Thomas about it.
Yeah.
You know? And I just think if it's the right perspective, you know, the crosshairs hit a certain way, it's always going to resonate more. But I don't think... that's necessarily, you know, I think your attitude is the right attitude to emulate just people who are creative.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what the gender is.
Right. I just got to somehow convince other people that it doesn't matter what the gender is.
Well, the other thing is you're young, which I think is another underrated
young-ish
TV quality because there's not a lot of young people on TV.
Yeah.
I think I'm still considered one of the young ESPN people, and I'm like 45.
I think it's probably your attitude that makes it come off as like the...
Is that what they're calling it now, an attitude?
You're like the internet guy. The guy who's not afraid to go there on his podcast and get in trouble. Maybe.
That's who I am now?
Was I not supposed to mention
in that voice? Am I that guy?
Yeah. Bill Simmons.
Bill Simmons.
Great love.
I'm not afraid to go there.
Yeah. And you hire like the young kids. You hire those, you find those voices. And you like curate them on your little internet space. Big internet space. Sorry, I don't want to.
No, I'd say little to medium.
It's a gigantic internet space.
I know. I wanted you to be in that internet space, but you had a contract.
You know, contracts happen.
It was a whole fun thing. It would have been a great media story if anyone knew about it.
Yeah, I know. That's the crazy thing. Is
in
that
your
like
book, it's a chapter in your book.
No idea.
Yeah.
I can't really know until
it's 9 months of my life I'll never get back. But hey,
what?
No.
Clearly, we need to have a discussion about what happened because I don't know about 9 months of your life you'll never get back. Sounds like pregnancy.
I'm not saying it was dominated my thoughts for 9 months, but it was something,
It was like here.
I think you would have liked to have been maybe part of the whole team.
And maybe
but now things are great.
I am happy.
Things are great for you now. This is awesome.
Yeah, things are exciting. Nerve-wracking.
All right. Well, I would love to come on at some point.
I would love to have you on.
I'm always available for unofficial texting consulting.
Okay.
Consultancy.
Yeah.
Consulting.
When you see the logo, just be sure to let me know all your thoughts on it.
I think you're gonna do great.
I hope.
Just do your thing. Don't overthink it. That would be my only advice would be, don't overthink it. Just do you.
Just go for it.
Just make believe you're in your freaking apartment in Alston, or where'd you live in Austin?
Yeah.
What street?
I lived in Alston on Brainerd Road.
Okay.
I lived in Brighton on Brooks Street, over by the IHOP.
So you lived in Alston and Brighton.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
All over the map.
Didn't even try to like save some extra money and maybe move up to the outskirts of Brookline?
Well, see, Brookline, you can't park on the street.
Right.
What is that about? No overnight parking in that whole town. Who gets to say that?
Well, so the snowstorms now. My dad's living in the city, and it's like all-time catastrophe.
No, but Brookline just year-round from the hours of whatever 9 to whatever.
Out. No, but
no parking.
I lived in Charlestown for I think 10 years.
Yeah.
And anytime there was a series of blizzards and they had nowhere to put the snow, they're just like, "Hey guys, we're towing all your cars." They're just gone.
My car got towed
wake up, it'd be gone
so many times.
And it was almost like not even now. It would be like if you lived in Boston, I think you would just have Uber and not even have a car in the winter.
But what do you do with your car? You sell it?
But just park it in park it in Worcester.
They'll tow it.
Park it in the outskirts of somewhere.
Park it to somewhere nobody East Boston.
I'm gonna say 95 or 96. It was a winter like that one. It just had like 10 snowstorms. My car was just gone. Like I would just be like, "Oh, my car's not there. I know where the tow lot is. I knew where the address." So there was nowhere to put it.
Yeah. There was a more recent one back when I was living in Alston on Brainerd. I lived on a big hill, and it was just all the cars were snow, and so people were using it as like snowboarding. They were snowboarding on my car was under a mound of snow, and someone was like doing a ollie or whatever it is that you call those the kids are doing these days.
Well, for people in Boston to complain about too much snow means there was a lot of snow.
It's too much.
It really seems like this might have been the most snow ever.
I've never been more grateful to not be. Normally I'm like, I want to be home.
Yeah.
No, that sounds awful.
Yeah, they got killed.
Real bad.
Good luck with your show.
Thank you.
Great to see you.
You too.
Come back anytime.
I will.
Let me know if you need my help in any way.
I
know you're going to do great.
I can always use it.
I hope Garbage Time is promoted properly by a network not named ESPN on Fox. Good luck.
Thank you.
Be back on the BS Report. We're cranking out BS Reports. We might have a Friday trade deadline BS Report if anything fun happens. Until then, thanks, Katie.
Thank you.
Target the sound off. Whoa.
Thank you for downloading the BS Report with Bill Simmons.
Too much fun.
Check out more podcasts at the iTunes Music Store or at Pod Center at ESPNradio.com.
Peace out.
Gotta say, Golic, great call on grabbing Subway for lunch and getting guacamole on our subs.
Told you this new guac really amps up the flavor.
Yep, something adding up things can be great. Guacamole on your sub, a new co-host to replace you.
What was that?
Oh, no, nothing.
Subway now has deliciously rich new guacamole made from ripe Hass avocados with just a hint of garlic, onion, and jalapeno. Discover how new guacamole turns up the flavor on any of your freshly made favorites. Subway, eat fresh.